What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. We are live here on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channels. Guys, first and foremost, do yourself a favor, do us a favor. Make sure to follow us across all social media platforms, most specifically the Twitter page. It's the best spot to be interactive with us throughout each day. And then check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you directly to all the other platforms we're on, most specifically there, the YouTube channel. That is the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen with us. So make sure to tap in, subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, family, any other Philadelphia sports fanatics that you know of, and let's continue to grow this page. Rocket, what is going on, my man? I'm one half of your host, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. We will be talking about Max Kepler today, but not really about Max Kepler himself, more so about Dave Dombrowski and the Philadelphia Phillies and the way they just seem to be sleepwalking through the early parts of free agency now as we approach the new year. We were told that they were going to kind of revamp this roster. It's not looking like they are going to do so. So we're going to talk about the Max Kepler 1 year, $10 million signing that the Phillies acquired. Joel Embiid, man, I thought he's going to be out for quite some time. It seems like he might be back sooner than expected there. The Sixers won their last game. They get the Hornets again tonight. So we'll talk about the state of the Sixers, where you guys are at. Obviously, they just continue to be plagued by injuries, and it's been a season from hell. And then Brian Robinson Jr. believes that the Washington Commanders are a better football team than the Philadelphia Eagles. So we're going to talk about this Commanders-Eagles game taking place in D.C. this week. And obviously we'll have the pregame show for you guys this Sunday. So we're not going to get too in-depth with keys and stuff like that. But we'll take a look at the overall picture. Right now, the Eagles, have a 3-game NFC East lead over Washington. So that would mean the Eagles going 0-3 over their final 3 weeks, and the Commanders going 3-0 over their final 3 weeks to take that division possibly from us, and then maybe a tiebreaker. But that ain't happening. Hate to break it to you, but my man, what is going on?
Not much, man. Or I guess a lot. It's a busy Friday nonetheless, but I get a nice little break here from work to get the show in with you, man. And there's a lot going on. Obviously, Embiid could return as soon as tonight. He's like a game time decision tonight. So that's obviously interesting. The Hornets, they might be able to save our season, man, as much as we're fucking playing them right now. Yeah, so hopefully can get another win in the books tonight. But yeah, man, I've seen a lot about this Max Kepler signing, and it's really, like you said, it's not really about Max, but I am curious for you to give me the rundown on this guy, because seems like people are not very happy with the decision, and obviously not very happy with the holistic point of view of what the Phillies have done this offseason, which is, I'm not going to say nothing. It's not nothing. They've
added a potential closer,
maybe improved there, right?
Added
I'm not going to say nothing.
Potential everyday guy out in right field or left field, whatever they decide to do with the corner outfielders. I think it's a good place to start, and here's why. We've been talking Eagles ad nauseum, and obviously for good reason. But like when we do pregame shows, it's not fun to talk about the same things for multiple days a week and talk about the game. So, and I think something that's getting lost right now is just how important the last 3 years of Phillies baseball has been to us, and how much they have taken and stolen some of the spotlight at times, and they're just not doing a good job of recapturing this fan base right now. Because as much as people love opening day, Scotty, as much as we love Red October, the offseason is always fun and important, because it's hypothetical, and it's looking what we're adding to the new season. And when you go out and you sign Schwarber and Castellanos in the same offseason, when you go out and you bring in Trey Turner, those things excite the fan base. They ignite the fan base. And right now, they're not doing that. And the problem is, like, just read the room. Like, you didn't collapse in Game 7 of the NLCS this past year. You didn't make it to the World Series this past year. You finally won the division, got a bye, and then got spanked by your division rival, who then went out and got one of the best 2 or 3 players in the world.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You're not improving while everyone else is improving, and I think it's starting to make some people question exactly what this window of the Phillies may look like, because they're slowly declining each playoff year. They're around short the last 3 years than the previous year. And then you take into account what the Mets are doing. You take into account that the Braves are going to be healthy next year, right? And people start to question it. Max Kepler's not it. Like, Max Kepler is a fine player. So to get to the crux of it all, man, he didn't play a lot last year. I think he missed like the last 50 or 55 games of the season with an elbow injury or something, and possibly had surgery. I'm not sure. He's around between a 260 and 270 type of guy that can hit for power. Like, he only played in 105 games last year, dealt with injuries. He hit 8 home runs. 2 years ago, he played in 130 games, hit 24 home runs. He's got a 36 home run and 90 RBI season a few years, half a decade ago. He's a very solid glove. So to me, Max Kepler is an everyday player. I think it's in fine addition, but it's nowhere near the level or expectation of what they need to do to retake, kind of the mountaintop.
Yeah. The big thing that I saw, and obviously this isn't coming from me directly, this is just what I'm seeing in the social media waves. They were upset with the price point, and I've seen like comparisons to Austin Hayes.
That's kind of weird.
Saying that you're basically getting a left-handed Austin Hayes, or maybe I'm getting that backwards, but nonetheless, I've seen
You're
that
right.
bunch. I've seen comparisons between Austin Hayes and Kepler a bunch since the signing. So I'm curious your thoughts there. Like, is it a definitive upgrade? Because you say every day, like, obviously it has to be a definitive upgrade.
Yeah, no, I think it's an upgrade from Austin Hayes. Look, it's not really fair to Austin Hayes because he had he was injured and then had an infection and just could never stay in the lineup, and they were also platooning him. Yeah, there is the comparison of just being a left-handed Austin Hayes. You're adding another lefty to this lineup. I think he's a better glove. I think he's a little quicker, right? And I think he's just been a little bit more steady. And I think in CBP with that short right field wall, I think Max Kepler is a fine player. Like, Max Kepler sitting in your 7 or 8 hole is nice. But again, it's just not the point. But the price point's weird to me. Whoever said, I mean, it's 1 year, $10 million. In base, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely nothing.
It was more the idea was more based around you can get Austin Hayes for less. That was the idea.
All right, cool. Well, I mean, what Austin Hayes for $8.5 million compared to Max Kepler for $10 million? Like, you're not getting Austin Hayes for $2 million. I'll tell you that. So, like, that world doesn't exist. I do think there's a world where Max Kepler is a better overall ball player than Austin Hayes. Yeah. We'll see. And I also think the confusing thing by this move too, man, is without it being the star, and I believe he is primarily or has only played right field. So now people are starting to question, is there an alternative move coming? Are you moving Castellanos back to left field? Yeah. And then you have this situation with Marsh and with Rojas. So, is Marsh on the move? Is Castellanos on the move? If so, like, what kind of package are you putting together? I think at the end of the day, I'm trying to remain patient until every piece of the puzzle fits and see the entire vision of what Dave Dombrowski's trying to accomplish this offseason. But taking it for face value right now, the Phillies offseason has been so goddamn underwhelming. So underwhelming. And there were certain packages that seemed a little hefty. The Crochet package with how many prospects and the names we would have had to give up. I can understand why people wouldn't have done that. But then the Yankees go out and acquire Devin Williams. They got him for fucking you and me.
Yeah.
And I hate when people say, oh, you couldn't match that. Maybe the Brewers didn't want to do business. I don't know. Yeah. But
could be.
My point is, you went out and signed Jordan Romano while Devin Williams was on the trade block.
Yeah.
You went out and signed Jordan Romano while Tanner Scott is still a free agent.
And I think that's the thing too, man. It's not just that these guys are going elsewhere or that they're going to another club, right?
They're going to teams
that they're going to juggernauts. Yeah. Like the Dodgers, the Yankees, and now the fucking Mets. Yep. Like,
Yep.
That's the real issue.
The 180, man,
See
the
what's going
complete
on with that.
180 this New York Mets team and organization has done
Yeah.
since fucking May or
To even be
beginning
able
of
to
June is
attract one, so
crazy.
to even be
Dude,
able to attract a player like that. Like I get getting
1000%.
his bank account out, but
You
like
took him from the Yankees.
yeah. Yeah, literally.
You took him from Big Brother if you are the Mets. And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to glaze that fucking team in that city. I cannot stand that team. I cannot stand that goddamn city and that fan base. But they're doing a hell of a job. If you remember, man, they were nowhere near. I remember being on vacation in early July. They were like 9 games under 500. They were a disaster. They were going to be selling. Before this year, you had the Scherzer and DeGrom issues where they were injured and then they traded them off and their pitching staff fell apart. And it's like, oh man, the Mets are going to Met, right? Well, are they anymore? And again, it's not just them, Scotty. The Atlanta Braves are still here. Like it got lost in translation about the Atlanta Braves last year. No Ronald Acuna Jr., no Spencer Strider, a down year for Matt Olson. Like the Atlanta Braves are going to be here. So I think that's the biggest thing is it feels like you're falling behind your direct competition.
Yeah.
And, a National League team wins the World Series and the Dodgers, they just continue to add. The team that knocked us out and got to the NLCS, the Mets, get better, the Braves. So it's like, where do we start to align? I still think the Phillies are uber talented. I still think the Phillies are World Series contenders, as is. That doesn't mean they're anywhere near the favorites, though. And that wasn't the case a year ago today. I mean, to be fair, how do I want to say this? Like it is like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's not basketball or football. There's overseas, there's Japanese, there's Dominican, but like, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, man. I do.
Isn't the NBA where like the Sixers just had this all white squad and we just keep signing white dudes and it's like, this is the NBA. It's like
the Eagles just keep signing like white.
And by the way, like we have Rojas, we have Alvarado.
Oh man, nah, the white guy team,
and it's not good enough right now, Brian. I'll give you that. It's not good enough right now.
But yeah, I think this is on the Phillies, man, where they're leaving us right now. Now, let me ask you this, man. On the flip side, anybody out there still available? There's obviously people still available. Any players out there that you're looking at, like? Not only would you be interested, but the Phillies would have to be moronic to not be in on. Is there anybody like that right now for you? Because obviously I've seen Kyle Tucker? I've seen his name thrown around.
Well, no, Kyle Tucker just got traded like 3 days ago.
Yeah. Oh, he just got traded.
Kyle Tucker is with the Cubs. Apparently we offered a package of Castellanos and Bohm. They declined it very quickly. So he went to the Cubs.
Get in return instead?
Not much. And that was another thing that we haven't talked about. I think that's just how people view Bohm right now, most likely, right? And Castellanos comes with that contract. Now, although Castellanos was electric in the postseason, he still comes with a high price tag. And I don't think Bohm is viewed, very, very, very highly like we were kind of hoping. So Kyle Tucker traded. The Alex Bregman, whether you want to call it a dream or not, seems dead. Bryce is our first baseman. I'm just throwing out names, but Christian Walker from the Diamondbacks just signed with the Astros this morning, 3-year deal. Cody Bellinger, you saw, went to the Yankees yesterday or 2 days ago.
I did not see that.
So Cody Bellinger's a Yankee now. I don't know. I think if anything, it's going to have to be a trade because the Kepler signing is a little interesting from that perspective as well. Like, I know it's just kind of Austin Hayes' replacement, but I do think they are looking for consistency day to day.
Yeah.
I think they told you that by platooning Marsh and Rojas the way they did and how they feel about them. So I do think a move is going to happen. Like the problem is I don't think what you're going to get in return is going to excite the fan base.
It's not going to be. It might be what the team needs. Is that what you're kind of insinuating? But it's not going to be the big name.
No, I'm even saying like it might be moving Marsh for someone that's in like can't like a prospects or a prospect that can't contribute, just to open up the way. I don't know, man. I think the messaging got frustrating for me and for this fan base. Yeah. Because here's my issue, right? Here's my issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
We met John Middleton, very nice man, stopped and took a picture with us and then stopped and took a picture with a lot of people. Was just walking around the concourse last year. Awesome. Just just walking around in front with the fans. You can't say, I want my fucking trophy back and then sit on your hands. And like, he's not sitting on his hands. It's Dave Dombrowski's job. But you can't tell me there's no...
Do you
There's
think
not a little bit of collusion?
That's what's happening. Like, do you think that they're sitting on their hands, or is it just that nobody is working with us and we don't have like assets outside of our younger prospects that we don't really want to let go of right now, unless it's a star, right? Is it that we're sitting on our hands, or is it just that nobody wants to make deals with the Phillies right now, and there's really no interest for the players?
I mean, it's a great, it's a great question.
We don't. It's hard. I know you don't have that answer. It's just more like what.
No, it's a tough question. And then I think that's the balance, right? And I think that's what people were scared of when Dombrowski was hired here, of him flushing out the farm system, and he has not done that. In fact, it's being replenished. And I understand you can't just go out there and trade Crawford, and you can't just go out there and trade Aiden Miller.
That was a good one, Brian. That was a good one.
Martian would appreciate this one. Martian would appreciate it.
Good one.
So, especially for like a 1-year rental type of thing, and I understand that you have to have a balance. But again, like, and that the issue is balancing the long-term guys, right? Because like when you try to sit here and think window, well, Turner's here for a decade and Bryce is here for almost another decade and wants an extension, and there's guys locked up for 5 years, and Wheeler and Nola, etc. So you theoretically have the timeline, but in terms of primes, in terms of production, in terms of age, you have to start to question when you want to, really push all the chips in. And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Garrett Crochet wins you a title. I don't know if Devin Williams helps win you a title. Wouldn't hurt. But yeah, I think just underwhelming.
Yeah.
Is where I'm at.
That's all you can really say, man. Like, obviously the offseason isn't over. We are not even into the new year yet, so it's not like necessarily panic mode. But when you start, measuring the Phillies up next to those top flight contenders, like you mentioned, man, when you're looking at the top, looking at the Dodgers and the Yankees specifically, like obviously the Yankees are on the other side in the AL, but the Dodgers are right here in our house in the NL, man. And how do the Phillies really stack against a healthy Dodgers team? Like,
no one stacks against a healthy Dodgers
right?
team.
Yeah.
But so what are we supposed to do? Just
sit on
kick our feet because they're too good and they spend too much money? No. You have to.
Have the Padres done anything this offseason?
No, I don't think so. Not that I can recall. Nothing of, and they're going to be losing Tanner Scott, I believe. So yeah, I mean, I think the direct issue though is the Mets and the Braves in your division, and then obviously the Dodgers. I think last gasp, and I'm sure there's going to be people that disagree with me. But he did just block a trade to the Astros a couple of days ago. I saw a couple different like TikToks from people that seem to have predicted things in the ballpark correctly in the past. Is that Nolan Arenado could be a Philly. Obviously the Phillies were on the list of like 6 or 7 teams he gave that he would waive his no trade clause for. People are going to look at Bohm's numbers and Bohm's age versus Arenado's numbers last year and Arenado's age. I will gladly take Nolan Arenado for the next 2, 3, 4 years to try to win a championship than have Alec Bohm on this ball club.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I
He's
think
a premier Gold Glove third
it's not the
baseman.
numbers with Bohm. It's the mentality, right? It's the mental makeup that bothers you with Bohm.
Well, and the fact that when he came back from that injury in late August, he was the worst player on the team.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say, his mental impacts his play so much.
Right.
He's mentally fragile, and that's just something that's not going to work. One, in Philadelphia, but then two, in Philadelphia in the postseason. So, yeah, I don't know, man.
Agreed, bro.
I think you almost have to change something to change it. And I know that sounds dumb, but you kind of just have to do it to see. Like you need to try something else. You have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, you can't run it back. You cannot tell me, especially with what these other teams are doing, you cannot tell me we are running it back, except we have Max Kepler in place of Austin Hayes, and we have Jordan Romano in place of Carlos Estevez, and possibly Jeff Hoffman. So you're not better. It's not going to be all they do, but you can't just add one little minor piece after this and make 3 moves this offseason and go, here you go. Here's the finished product.
Yeah.
I mean, unless Trey Turner goes back to hitting 305 with 25 home runs, and Bryce Harper is a 35 home run guy, and Kyle Schwarber hits 45 again, and they don't tank out in the post. Like, that's what you're expected to do then. You didn't fill in the margins well enough.
Let me ask you this about the Phillies, and when you look at from season to season, like just staying healthy. What are the odds that this team can stay fully healthy? And I know that it goes for every team at the end of the day. But
no, I think to your point, the problem is they kind of did so last year.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, when you got to the postseason, this team was healthy.
Yeah.
You had everybody.
Yeah.
And you won your division last year.
You had your best regular season success.
So, yeah, man. It's very underwhelming, very frustrating at the moment, especially because for a short while, if you rewound the clock 2.5, 3 months ago, it was Phillies, Eagles. The Eagles were off to a slow start. The Phillies were 1-1 in the NLDS. And now, I mean, it's Eagles, Phillies.
Yeah.
Like, the gap is fucking astronomical. And I understand one team is in season and one team is not. Duh. The more eyeballs and more conversation are on the other. But it's like with the way they flopped out and what they're lacking right now is annoying. It's just very, very frustrating.
We're basically back in April, March of 2024, earlier this year, except in reverse, right? The Eagles just finished their collapse, and we were going into Phillies season, and the Phillies were up here. So it is crazy, man, how you finish this season can really, really impact, obviously.
Right. And don't sit here and tell everybody that you are going to revamp this roster. There are going to be moves made. You're hearing all these leaks and reports from winter meetings that the Phillies are expected to be very active in the reliever market. They're expected to be very active in trade talks. They're in on Crochet. They're in on this. And then the big package we can put together is Alec Boehm and Nick Castellanos for Kyle Tucker.
Right.
In what fucking world did you think that was going to get the job done? You have an underachieving player that flopped out the end of last year with a bad attitude and then taxed on what a lot of people probably view as a bad contract with Nick Castellanos, regardless of how he hit in the postseason. They're going to look at that number. They're going to look at Alec Boehm and his glove at third base and go, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Annoying, because Kyle Tucker would have been fucking perfect
that would have been exciting.
Lineup. I think the same thing about Alex Bregman. I think he would be perfect in this lineup. You need these. Yeah. You need eyeballs at the plate. You need someone in between between the big guys, between the thumpers that can come in and work a count and make contact and just not swing and chase at every fucking thing. I will give him that. From what I've read, Max Kepler, when health, like before, the injury last year and the last 5 years, very good plate discipline, low chase rate. So take that for what it is. If Max Kepler gives you 20 plus home runs and has good plate discipline and is a better glove in the field than Austin Hayes, it's a good signing. It's not enough to win you a World Series, but it's a good signing.
Over the top.
Right. So that's where we're kind of at right now, man. Where do you want to move to next? Guys, in the comments, there's about 20 of you in here right now. Make sure to tap into the YouTube channel if you want to get your thoughts and comments pulled up with us. Smash that subscribe button. We appreciate you. But do we want to go Sixers and keep the tone low, be a little negative, or do we want to get into the Birds Commanders game for this Sunday?
Let's talk some Birds, man, because we got D-Rab in the comments.
Jalen Hurts.
He's fiending for some
Brian. Big game last week, Bri. Big game. Missed you on Monday. Missed you.
I'm honest. I want his thoughts. I just want his thoughts. I'm not even like trolling here. I could. Not even trolling. I just want his honest thoughts on the game. I want to hear like the transparent truth.
Yeah.
From Brian.
I will say.
Over.
AJ Brown is now on the injury report.
I did
Said he's playing.
Yeah.
Reporters at his locker about an hour, 2 hours ago. Quote, I'm playing, from the man himself.
Yeah.
Just annoying because we knew that tackle at the end of that game last week was bullshit and something wasn't right. And then you don't hear anything about it for a couple of days. And now, he's got the knee tweak and something's wrong. And it's like, oh, please don't do this. Please don't derail what has been a fucking fantasy type of season so far. But heading into this Washington game, Scotty, what are you looking for, man? We're going to get into keys and stuff. You got Dickerson on the injury report. Saquon had a day off for rest, which I think caught a lot of people's eyes because of how he was kind of, used and out a little bit in the Pittsburgh game after taking that one hit. What are you looking for this Eagles team to build off of? Because you're looking at this last 3 weeks. We're fighting for the 1 seed, and you're talking about after this week lacking competition. Maybe even included this week, but you're talking Commanders, you're talking Giants, and you're talking Cooper Rush and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
What are you looking for this week? Is it Jalen Hurts to continue in the passing game where those questions answered and you're good with just doing whatever is necessary? Just looking to build off of.
Yeah. Really just winning the football game, man. I won't lie to you. I don't really care how it looks. Obviously, I don't want to see a bunch of turnovers and dumb shit from the Birds, but just looking at the ball game, looking at the rest of the season, the outlook, it's just staying healthy and winning ball games, getting yourself in position to win the 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the NFC postseason. That is the only goal. So when it comes to, using Jalen's arm or using Jalen's legs or using Saquon and getting him to the rushing record, I think that would be cool. Like, if it's necessary, if he's popping off in these last 3 games, sure, let him go at it. Of course, I'm not saying I would go over, like the 19, 20 carry threshold that he's been at. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if he's popping off, continue to do what you've been doing and what's been winning ultimately. But, I will say this, man. I think one thing the Eagles can prove, like if you are looking and digging for something just in this game specifically, is just proving that you are a class of different from this Commanders team. Like the fact that Brian Robinson can even like say this out loud to a reporter without getting like laughed in his face is an issue for me, because I think that the Birds didn't even play that good when we beat them a couple weeks ago. Jalen didn't start the game great, right? Nope. Saquon didn't really pop off, and
it was ugly at halftime.
I don't even know. Like, did Saquon pop off in that game?
Yeah, remember he had like the 2 like 20-ish yard rushing touchdowns at the end of the game. Yeah,
like the fourth quarter. Yeah, so they bottled him up for a majority of the game. I think this game coming in, man, even though it's in Washington in the Commanders' shitty ass stadium,
we'll take over that stadium.
Yeah, I honestly think should come out here and kind of have a statement type of W this weekend against the Commanders. You see this comment right here, right? They think they can spoil things for the Eagles, or they think that they're a better team than the Philadelphia Eagles. I think you need to step on their throats and let them know that it's
everybody, any athlete thinks that they are better than someone else. They're the best, right? And they believe in their team. They believe in their teammates. They believe in what they do. The Commanders are a good football team. They're a 9-win team right now. But like you said, normally, especially in a spot like this, it's kind of if you're asked a question like that, and I'm not even sure what reference, what he was referring to in Brian Robinson Jr.'s statement, but just like you would think it would just be like, respect, like, they're a great team, we're gonna fight them hard, etc. Like to come out with a microphone and say that you believe you're the better team, it is crazy to me. Look, I agree with you. I think this Eagles team, 12-2 Eagles team, is the only team that like gets questioned, like has to answer questions on a week-to-week basis, has to show you a different side of them, right? The passing game's not good enough. The running game's this, the defense, they're the only team that still gets questioned. And I just think we're past that. I think any test that was put in front of them, it was answered. It was aced. If you wanted eye test, you got it. If you wanted stats, if you wanted numbers, you got it. If you wanted physicality, if you wanted the bully, you got it. They've won in so many different ways, and this is not they're winning in different ways, Scotty, in like, man, they got an ugly win here. They escaped this one game like this. No. They're winning in different fashions, meaning through the air, on the ground, with their defense, but they're kicking the shit out of people. And they're kicking the shit out of great teams. They didn't escape Baltimore with a win. They took it to Baltimore. They didn't just beat the Steelers at home. They kicked the piss out of the Steelers. It never felt like a close game. They manhandled the Rams on Sunday Night Football. Like, they're winning in different fashions with different types of identities day to day, but they're doing it in dominant fashion. They don't have to answer any more questions. Just go win the game, stay healthy, and the icing on top would be if Saquon Barkley pops off and over the last 2 weeks has a chance in the ballpark to break that record, especially with Week 17 against who and in where? The New York Football Giants, which would just be such the icing cherry on top for him and this entire season, man. But Brian, I knew you would come with some bullshit. You didn't answer any questions. You didn't talk about Jalen's last game. Just a little troll in the comments about Jalen.
Says a lot.
Jalen Hurts led team. What do I give two fucks of what Brian Robinson Jr. thinks about a Jalen Hurts led team? The reason we brought up his comments were that he's an idiot. But yeah,
because he doesn't respect Jalen.
Yeah, like what?
What? He's going against our defense. He's not going against Jalen Hurts. Like, yeah, I don't know, Brian.
I just want to tell Brian, like, as long as Brian is aware that Jalen Hurts led team, since you're insinuating that he's the leader, has won 10 in a row and is 12-2. So that's what that Jalen Hurts led team has done this year. Just wanted to make you aware of that in case you missed last week or any of the other big wins that his team has gotten this year. So
for 290 last week.
He did. AJ over 100, Smitty over 100, both found the end zone.
What you wanted to see?
Also used his legs well and picked up key first downs. He was great last week. Great. So just wanted to throw that out there for you, Brian.
Nah, but I don't know, man. I do. I feel like this is a
Brian. I'm going to entertain it because I'm in a good mood, and I feel like fucking around in the comments today for the last or so minutes. Yeah. If you would have tuned in on Monday, we talked about this, and this is why you're wrong. No respect. The Cowboys, by the way, we beat the Cowboys last year in Philly. Remember, Smitty had that catch in the corner of the end zone. So I don't give two fucks about what the Cowboys think or have to say. 49ers, you're right. 49ers didn't respect us last year. They came in, they punked us, they dog-walked us, they beat up on James Bradbury before the game. We talked about this very thing on Monday's show. You know the difference, Bri? What happened in the back of the end zone against the Steelers this past week when Darius Slay got carried by Darnell Washington through into the stands? I don't know what you're getting at.
Comment, Brian.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're getting. Like, does that hold weight to you?
I don't understand.
So because the Commanders and the Ravens lost to us by multiple possessions, by the way, because they came away from that game thinking they were the better team, that means they don't respect a Jalen Hurts led team and they are the better team. Like, let's just clarify. I don't know what you're trying to get at.
And what about
should I be worried that the Ravens said they were the better team after we walked in their house and kick their teeth down their throat?
They're not even going to make it out of the AFC with that defense. It doesn't even matter. Like,
should I be concerned?
They can be better. They can be better, even though
should I be concerned that the Commanders think they're the better team? And heading into that week, we were told Jaden Daniels was already a better quarterback than ours. And then Jaden Daniels came in and had his worst game of the season in Philadelphia. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, and he's good at it. I respect it. I respect the hustle. He's good at being a troll. He doesn't answer any questions.
Yeah.
And it's why, come in the future, I will not be pulling up Brian's comments anymore. Because you don't talk. You just say random shit and you just push buttons.
It doesn't bother me, but I do agree. The fact that we watched the Steelers game, I assume Brian watched it as well.
Right.
Didn't show up on Monday.
Right. Because he was wrong.
If you missed
Because he was wrong.
If you missed the show, sure.
Yeah.
But like,
you're here now.
What is the analysis from the Steelers game? What happened in that game, Brian? That's the question. Like, that's my question. What happened in the Steelers game last weekend, last Sunday? How did the Eagles win that game?
Their defense. The offensive line was outstanding. Kenneth Gainwell was phenomenal in place of Saquon Barkley. That's how they won the game, Scotty.
Yeah, the game well.
But that's the point. Listen, we love every single one of you guys that tune in with us. Brian, deep down inside, there is a love for you.
You're an Eagles fan, I hope.
You're an Eagles fan. You're a Philly sports fan. You tune in, you comment, you interact. We love it. But just be honest. Like, just be real sometimes. You can troll, we'll acknowledge it. Just be a little bit real in what you're talking about and analyzing and commenting.
All right. He said Jalen Hurts. It wasn't his best game ever, but
it's not even close to his best game.
Just say Jalen Hurts good game. That's all you have to say. Jalen Hurts had a good game.
Yeah.
I would take that. I'll accept that one.
We accept it, Brian.
And he throws in Corey Brewer and
yeah. Sorry, right. I told you. I kind of respect it because he's good at it. He's good at being a troll. But I'm going to stop pulling up the comments and talking about it with him if he continues it and ignoring the questions. Because like you said, you missed a show, that's fine. But now you're here, acknowledge it.
He takes our show over.
Because the point is, right, because the point is, if we were wrong in what we predicted last week, and Jalen looked like shit against Pittsburgh, and we lost or we squeaked by with a win in spite of Jalen Hurts, buddy, we would have to be here, and Brian Pumper would be in the comments giving it to us. And I'd have to sit here and take it. So that's it. But the Eagles will win this game. Just a precursor. Eagles will win this game. The Eagles are going to win out, by the way. Yeah. And with that said, that means they're going to end up winning 13 consecutive games to end the year, heading into the postseason with hopefully a first-round bye and head into that divisional round matchup, which would just be so big. Because feed me any one of these teams at the link in January. Like, if feed me any of them anywhere. Like we've talked about how this is the best team in football for a while, but bring them here in January. Let Sam Darnold or Jared Goff have to come here in January. Let Kirk Cousins come here in January. We'll have some fun.
No, I agree, man. I agree. I think they went out as well. And just to add on to the Commanders game, man, I do think it's one of those games to the point of making it clear that you are levels ahead of them. I think you get a manufactured Jahan Dotson touchdown against the Commanders. I think it's one of those. That's what I think, that we are going to be able to manufacture things to happen the way we want them to. That's the type of game I'm expecting. We'll see if the Commanders can bring it.
Nick Sirianni pandering class?
Yeah, a little bit of that, man. Dotson deserves one touchdown this season. Let's make it against the Commanders. Has he scored? I don't think he's scored this year, right?
Jahan? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. But
which is fascinating to me because even with
Johnny Wilson,
limited wide receiver 3 options we've had in the past, those guys have all scored here. Olamide Zaccheaus has scored. Julio Jones has scored. Quez Watkins has scored. Zach Pascal has scored. And it's like we got this new shiny toy from Penn State boy, and has been good at Washington. He's got maybe a character issue or drops issue or whatever it was. He comes here and he can't even get the fucking ball.
Yeah.
I don't think Jahan
weird.
Dotson has a game with more than one reception this year.
It's weird.
I'm being dead
Always
serious.
see him blocking.
And he's played in about 8 games where he should have been the number 2 option. With how much they've missed A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith this year.
He's so much smaller than like what I thought he was. Do you know what I mean? Like he's like a borderline like a tiny receiver.
Yeah, and he can't. I don't know what it is, but he cannot be as quick, as fast anymore, or as we thought, because you cannot tell me Kellen Moore would not find a way to get him out in space if he was as big of a playmaker as we thought he could be in Washington.
What they tried to do with Britton Covey at the beginning of the year. It's literally what you would think you would do with a guy like Dotson, but he hasn't looked that fast. Like when I see him running routes and different things, man. Maybe the Commanders they might have got that one right. So we'll see.
Could have, especially with what we saw some other wide receivers get traded for at the deadline.
Yeah,
in Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper and DeAndre Hopkins. So it looks bad, guys. Last segment of the day. I see about 40 of you in here right now. If you are new to the channel, if you're watching on Twitter, do us a favor. Make sure to check out the YouTube channel. You can get your thoughts and comments pulled up here with us. Like Brianna is doing. Brianna, we appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button if you can. We're here every Monday and Friday now. We got some scheduling to work out, and then we're also on the Turf Talk channel. But last segment here for the last 5 or 10 minutes, Scotty. The Sixers. Martian, I know you're still out there, and I know you want to talk about the Sixers for a little bit. They've won 3 of 4. They've actually won 5 of their last 7, if my math is correct, Scotty. Joel Embiid might not be out as long as we thought. He could return tonight, as they are, I think, 10-point favorites, 9.5-point favorites at home against the Hornets, which could tell they're 12.5 now.
Yeah.
So
it moved.
I think that's going to tell you something about the big fella playing tonight,
yeah,
which is kind of funny. Because I don't know that this is a game I would like. I know this is crazy, is what I'm about to say. I don't know that I would even play them tonight. I'm slightly joking because you need every win at this point. So obviously, don't hold anything back. Nothing's a give me game. But this is the 4th time you've played the Hornets
against the Cavs.
We played tomorrow against the Cavs, and he's gonna fuck. If Scotty, listen to me right now, please hear me out. If he plays tonight and then sits out tomorrow night, I'm done for a while. I'm done for. I mean, no. Fuck no.
I did not know they played the Cavs.
Me neither.
Tomorrow.
You cannot come back quickly from any other injury that you've had more quickly than any other injury this year to play the Charlotte motherfucking Hornets on a Friday night and then sit out on a Saturday night against the Cavs. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying, he won't play both. I'm not saying he's definitely playing tonight. They're 13-point favorites tonight. That should tell you something about his status at this time right now. Yeah. Things can change. If he plays and sits out tomorrow, Scotty, I don't know whether that's him. I don't know whether that's the staff, a combination of the two. I'm done for a while. That would be the most. Let me temper myself. That would be some bullshit, dude.
You don't want to watch him play the Celtics on Christmas Day, brother? Get the Boston Celtics in Boston on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, Sixers fans.
No, but you know what's funny? They'll win that game, Scotty. They'll win that fucking game. He'll play him, Paul, and Maxey will play together. Paul will hit 5 threes. Joel will go for 32, and we'll somehow win that game. But I'm being serious. Like, I'm freaking out possibly over nothing, but the fact that you just pointed that out to me and it's feeling like that's going to be the case, that's bullshit. It's bullshit on his part and it's bullshit on the Sixers' part.
The fact that he hasn't played in quite a while anyways, right? Like a week or two at this point, on top of the fact that he's going to be on a minutes restriction. If you want to play him tonight, just play him tomorrow too. He didn't have a leg injury. He was able to condition. It was a facial injury.
Right.
So he shouldn't be.
Right. If he's wearing a mask, whatever the case is, I don't know. But yeah, if he does not play in both and he plays tonight,
yeah,
I am going to be really, really angry. Also,
I'm gonna be where some of the trolls are out there, man, because that's very weak. That's a very weak.
It is, and it's a little telling. Because when again we heard all off season, and then when they were hiding things earlier this year, there's a plan in place.
Yeah.
And you and I, the reason I said to start this segment that I might not even play him tonight is this is game 4 of the year against the Charlotte Hornets to wrap up the series of the season, which is crazy. It's December 20th, excuse me. And we've won 2 of 3. Without Embiid at home, they should still beat the Hornets like they had the other games. Yeah. So maybe I won't. And I didn't even know they were on a back-to-back when I said that. So if you're coming up with this scheduled plan for Joel Embiid to keep him healthy and keep him ready to go for the playoffs, this would be a night where he doesn't play, especially coming off of that injury, off of the other injury, with everything mixed together. He better play against the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow night. That is all I'm going to say.
What's their record now? 23-4 Cleveland Cavaliers. You can beat the Hornets without Embiid. We've done it. We've done it twice, yep. I think, at this point. Like, I think we beat them without was it without Maxey or something? I don't know.
One of them, maybe without Paul. I don't remember, but you're right. You're right.
Restriction. You can beat them without Embiid, but we need Embiid for Cleveland, or that's an L, man. And it's in Cleveland too, so he's not going to play, man. He plays.
I will be very checked out on him. As just I don't care, and I don't care if you want to get snippy with how much you've done for this city and done for this organization. That is telling to me. I don't care. I'll get trolly if I have to. That's telling to me. Also, I better not see no Paul George sitting out tomorrow as well because it's a back to no.
Scheduled loss. No, man. We can't afford to do things like this. And the thing is, man, if he played against the Cavs tomorrow in Cleveland, you get a day off Sunday and then you get to play the Spurs on Monday. That's a better idea. Like, what? You're going to play the Hornets and then play the Spurs on Monday. Like, that's just so goofy, man.
Yep.
That's exactly what they're going to do. Because
and I would not be saying this. We would not be having this conversation if they were playing better to start the year, even with all of his injuries and all the drama. If the Sixers were not 8-16, if they were not 8-16 on the year where they need every win they can get right now, I wouldn't be saying this because we've seen them in the past show up against big time guys. We've seen them go head to head with Joker. We've seen them show. So when people used to troll and go, "Oh, he plays the Pistons and the Hornets and he's a stat merchant," no, it's not about that. It's about needing you on the floor versus the best competition because you need to win games. Yeah. If the Sixers were, I don't know, 12-14, 11-15, whatever. It's still bad. And they did that, whatever. You are 8-16. He sits tomorrow. You get ran out of the gym tomorrow night.
He's not going to play tomorrow, Dylan. He's not, because I see it now. They're in Philly tonight against the Hornets. You go to Cleveland tomorrow. You come back to Philly against the Spurs. He's not even going to travel with the team. It's not.
I'm telling you now, it better not happen. It better not happen, but I do agree with you. I think it's very telling right now that the line is what it's at, that he's going to play tonight, and then he's going to end up. And I guarantee you, he plays tonight, they win, they interview him, how he's feeling, good. He's going to want to give it. He's going to say he's going to try to give it a go. And then tomorrow afternoon, you are going to get hit with the tweet that Joel Embiid is inactive with left knee management or whatever it is tomorrow. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because it's happened already.
See, and you suck the life. He sucks the life just with a little bit of a game time decision right out of everything we were talking about.
And here's the problem, Scotty. This isn't about pleasing the fan base. This isn't about being flashy and doing stuff extra. This is about winning basketball games because your team needs you to. That's what that's about. That's why I'm fired up right now. So he either better play both or his ass better not be playing tonight so he can travel to Cleveland and play tomorrow night. Point blank, period. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the Phaithful Phanatics, or this Friday edition, excuse me. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help yourself out. Help us out, please. We're trying to get to our first goal of 200 on the newer channel. And it's the best and only spot to get your thoughts and questions pulled up with us. So for myself, for Scotty, for DSM, have a great rest of your weekend. And for right now, go Birds, because that's all I got for you.
Go Birds.